Even with maximum acceleration, the spin is much weaker. Look at the immense difference in quality. Alright, today we're going to talk about serves. I want to point out that amateur players use the long serve far too often. But as you face better opponents, you'll find they rarely make a direct error on a long serve. If your opponent can loop your long serve, you are immediately put on the defensive. So, what's the best serve for setting up an attack? It's the short serve. This is because it's difficult to return a short serve with high quality. The standard return is a simple push, which is a passive shot. For most amateurs, the backhand banana flick is a very difficult technique. If they try to flick, you serve a short ball to the middle, and then serve a long ball to the forehand. This way, they won't be able to flick well. After they push your short serve, their return is low quality, and their defensive position is very awkward. Therefore, the serve that truly gives you an advantage for a third ball attack is the short serve. So, you must improve the quality of your short serves and the attacking patterns that follow. Secondly, amateur players are often afraid of receiving long serves. When you can attack off your short serves and also use effective long serves, you'll completely open up the game. It's hard to initiate an attack in a push rally. The more you push, the harder it is to find the right timing. The first return of serve is the easiest to attack. So from an attacking perspective, serving short provides the best opportunity. If they push it back, you can loop it, because the return won't have much spin. Serve a no-spin ball. When they push it back slowly, you can smash it. Serve Sidespin-Topspin. If they flick it back slowly, you can counter-drive it. The best tactic for a long serve attack is to serve Sidespin-Topspin and play to the wide angle. This works because their return can't generate heavy spin. A sidespin-backspin serve is a different story. With a sidespin-backspin serve, if they push it, it's hard to loop, and if they loop it, it's hard to defend. So, you must choose your serves based on your own attacking capabilities and style. I believe players with good form and solid technique should focus more on topspin rallies. For less experienced players to beat those with more years of casual play, you must engage them in rallies. This is because in topspin rallies, their inconsistent technique will lead to errors. Moreover, these casual players have very little potential for technical improvement. As a result, they are unwilling to use footwork, and their anticipation is poor. However, the slow rhythm of a backspin rally perfectly suits their game. Are any of you currently struggling to serve effective topspin? That's why we need to practice our backhand serve and hook serve. These two serves produce a type of spin that is almost impossible for opponents to return with a simple push. For instance, if I serve a hook or a backhand serve without much effort, they can't push it down. But if I serve a standard left side spin, it's not as effective. So, a standard sidespin-topspin serve is very difficult to master. Therefore, we must improve our sidespin-topspin serve capability. The quality of your short sidespin-topspin serve must also be improved. A short sidespin-topspin serve is the hardest to handle, as it's difficult to flick or attack aggressively. Pushing it often results in a high ball, and it's awkward to flick or initiate a loop. Even if your opponent flicks it, don't worry, because they can't generate much quality. If they use too much power, the ball goes out. Now, let's discuss a few common mistakes in serving. Why can't you generate spin? Why can't you execute a sidespin-topspin serve? First, let's address the backspin serve. Why isn't it spinning? For the same amount of spin, a high trajectory makes the serve seem like it has no spin. A low trajectory can double the effectiveness of your spin. A high arc gives your opponent more time to prepare their stroke. A low arc, however, rushes them. With such a short time, they can't find the peak of the bounce or a proper contact point. The serve may not even be that spinny, but because it's low, it drops quickly. The biggest mistake amateurs make is not lowering their center of gravity and their hand. Why is it hard for amateurs to play against long pips? Because the ball drops suddenly, and you are standing too tall. You often end up hitting the bottom of the ball or missing it completely. So, a low trajectory shortens the time the ball is at its peak, making it drop quickly, which prevents the opponent from timing their shot and generating power. It's like they're trying to use only the edge of an expensive racket, so of course they can't make a quality shot. The most important element of a serve is its trajectory. You must get the trajectory low to shorten the ball's peak time and make it drop faster. This kind of serve reduces the opponent's reaction time, making it harder for them to loop and complete their stroke. So, the reason your serve isn't spinny is because your trajectory is too high. A high arc means a slower ball, giving it more time to travel, which causes the spin to decay by the time it reaches the opponent. Second point, to generate spin on any stroke, you must break down the mechanics of the movement. What does breaking it down mean? It doesn't mean you don't use your upper arm and forearm, you must. At contact, your fingers initiate the action, which engages your wrist, then your forearm follows through, and your upper arm completes the motion. This is an example without isolating the finger and wrist action, just a single arm swing. And this is an example with the motion broken down. It's the same for your serve. If you swing with one continuous, even speed, how can you add spin? You should control your forearm and upper arm, and use your fingers to accelerate and generate the initial spin. I have to separate these movements. If I can't, the motion is uniform, and there's no spin. You must learn to use your fingers, wrist, forearm, and upper arm together. When they all contribute force, the ball will be spinny. Right now, you're only using your upper arm to drive the entire motion, so the other joints aren't contributing. Others use 4 points of leverage, while you only use 1. Of course, their serve is spinnier. Can you use your arm? Yes, but it's for support and adding pace, not the main source of spin. It's the fingers driving the racket face to create high-speed friction that generates spin. The arm's role is to add speed and power, making the serve more penetrating. If I only use my fingers, the serve is spinny but slow and lacks power. When I coordinate with my arm, the serve is both powerful and spinny. Third point, where does the force come from? No matter how much force you generate with your upper arm, it's not enough when transferred to the ball. To generate friction, you need to apply force here, with your hand and fingers, to get more feel for the ball, just like a handshake. So, to generate spin, the true point of force for friction is at the tip of the racket. The faster the racket head rotates, the spinnier the ball will be. Watch this demonstration. If the racket head doesn't accelerate, like in a typical amateur serve, there's no spin at all. If I accelerate it slowly, there might be a little spin, slightly better than before. Only when you have a concentrated, explosive acceleration at the moment of contact will the ball dive down right off the opponent's racket. The difference in spin is massive, it's night and day. So, the key is to figure out how to make the racket head rotate, and more importantly, accelerate its rotation. Fourth, most amateur players don't use their body when serving. Let me demonstrate a hook serve without using my body. Even with maximum acceleration, the spin is much weaker. Look at the immense difference in quality. So, the fourth reason your serve isn't spinny is that you're not transferring your weight. Another reason is that you are not stomping your foot. If you get a chance to watch professional matches like the WTT, you'll see that the athlete's foot stomp is incredibly powerful. You stomp and engage your core simultaneously. These two actions combine to generate force. If you can master these points, you will definitely be able to serve well. To summarize, first, trajectory. Second, don't just use your arm, learn to use your fingers, wrist, forearm, and upper arm in sequence. Third, the key zone for acceleration, spin, and power is the racket head. Fourth, learn to use your body's kinetic chain. You must lower your center of gravity, transfer your weight, and add a foot stomp. Then the serve will be spinny. Now, let's talk about the Sidespin-Topspin serve. Why can your opponent still push it? It's because your serve speed is too slow. You don't need to add a lot of spin, just push the ball forward. Once the speed is high, they won't be able to push it down. The mistake you're making with your Sidespin-Topspin serve is focusing too much on spin and completely ignoring speed. When serving Sidespin-Topspin, the number one priority is to maintain speed. For example, we can all toss the ball and hit a simple forehand drive. Just adapt that motion into a hook or a left side spin serve. For a hook serve, you use a hooking motion. Then, lower your contact point and drive forward and upward, and you'll get it. The reason a Sidespin-Topspin serve is hard to push is simply because it's fast. The faster it is, the harder it is to push. Second point, ensure your force is directed forward, from back to front. Avoid an up-down-forward motion, as that will allow the ball to be pushed. Contacting the ball during the downward phase will impart backspin, allowing the opponent to push it. When practicing, keep your forearm level or even below the ball, and practice your Sidespin-Topspin from there. You'll see results. Here's a secret tip: when you first practice the Sidespin-Topspin serve, always keep your forearm lower than your elbow. This will ensure you generate topspin. If your forearm is higher than your elbow, you'll impart backspin. If it's lower, they won't be able to push the ball down. The same principle applies to the hook serve. Your forearm must be below your elbow to generate true sidespin-topspin. It's the same for the backhand serve. Many players serve with their forearm above their elbow, which results in backspin. Keep it below the elbow for topspin. Third, let's discuss the contact point on the ball. Why is your serve failing? It's because your contact point is always somewhere on the lower half of the ball. Let me show you in slow motion. If you contact the ball like this, it won't work. Any contact on the bottom or lower middle part of the ball will impart backspin. So, you need to aim for the back of the ball and drive through it. For a left side spin serve, I'll contact the back left portion of the ball. This ensures I avoid the lower half of the ball while still generating side spin. Whether it's a short or long serve, the principle is the same. The ball will have a distinct sideways curve. My hook sidespin-topspin serve actually brushes the ball like this. But because the motion is fast, it's deceptive and looks like something else. When the motion is fast and fluid, I'm actually driving through the ball and then quickly dropping my racket for deception. So, how do you serve sidespin-topspin with your backhand? If you use this racket angle, you will always serve sidespin-backspin. You must first drive into the back right of the ball, then pull sideways. That's a sidespin-topspin serve. Sometimes, if I want to serve a very kicky hook serve, I not only brush the side but also brush upward on the ball. Why does this serve kick up so high? Because I'm not just brushing the side, I'm catching the upper middle part. A serve like this is bound to have a heavy arc. If they push it, it'll fly right off. This is why my short serves have a deceptive follow-through. It allows me to create topspin by brushing sideways and also upwards. When the opponent tries to push it, the ball will fly right off.